Hi, I'm Rachel Morgan, a retail sales coach who works with sales managers and sales teams to help them maximize their foot traffic, keep the team motivated, and also increase sales. Today, I have Claudia with me, who is a full-time social media marketer, content creator, and founder of the Social Poor magazine, where you will find content about career, marketing, and work-life balance. Outside of work, she loves to hike with her pup, drink wine, one of my favorite things too, work out, and watch TV. So Claudia and I are chatting deeper today about what it's like to run a successful business and also work a full-time job, something I know personally that many of us face, and chances are you have worked both, have thought about leaving, or you're in the transition of it. So while we're chatting, please make sure to share any of your questions with us. We want to make sure to answer them for you in both areas. I know that she really is such an excellent person to have this conversation with and to share her best practices. So, hello.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. For everyone joining, tell us, where are you from?
I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I have been living in Salt Lake City for the past little over almost 3.5 years now. So it's been a
Yes.
bit.
And I know you're thinking about coming to Seattle too, so you are all
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, just in the cards, you never know.
Yes,
We're
that's
keeping it
that's
open.
life.
Yes,
That's life.
exactly.
Well, I know that we're all really excited and to know your take, because personally, I left my job and started a business, whereas I have never worked both before. And so I know that not everyone has been in that position. So let's like scale back. So you tell us more about your business and what made you decide to even start a business.
I actually started my business in 2020, right when COVID
Mhm.
kind of hit. We all got sent home to work remotely, and I just really wanted to get myself in a different area of marketing, which is where I currently am, the social media marketer. It's pretty much what I do for my business and for my full time. But what really just got me into it is like I said, I wanted to learn and grow, and I wasn't able to do it where I was currently. So I wanted to take matters into my own hand, just being
Right.
at home day in, day out. You have a little bit more control of your schedule and how you want to do things.
Right.
So it was just pretty easy to transition into that to be able to kind of balance both. And I have no regrets of doing it because it just kind
Right.
of led to so many other different avenues of what I'm currently doing and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Right, right. So I'm just curious, since you currently work in a marketing role and you also started a marketing company, was that ever a conflict of interest?
No, well, they also didn't know until a year in.
Oh.
It's not a conflict. I work in a financial industry and I
Mm.
don't work with any financial people, I should say. So they had no problem with it. Once they did find out, they were actually very, very supportive. And
Oh.
they know I still do it on the side with like wine businesses, especially because I'm doing that more specialized than I ever have. And yeah, they were just really excited that I was venturing out and learning new things. And yeah, it was a really great turnout for when they found out because I wasn't the one to tell them. So
Oh,
they found out on their own. So that's fine.
well, you got lucky. You got very
Good
lucky.
marketing on my side for them to find me. So I'll take
Yes,
a bonus.
yes. So tell us more about kind of what you're up to then, so that we can all kind of relate to you and understand what you do.
Yeah. Well, for my full time, I'm a senior social strategist. So I kind of work with two financial brands. And I'm also doing the influencer marketing on that side. So kind
Mm-hmm.
of two jobs in one, where I'm balancing out that type and also like all the
Mm-hmm.
video content, any, like normal content, content strategy sessions. So we kind of do that. That's like my full time. And then right now, like for my business, I'm still doing marketing, kind of doing a little bit more social media side, but I'm also doing a little bit more of like pitching, influencer outreach on the side as well. And I've been doing more local, Salt Lake City local. I've been working with a wine brokerage out here, and I've been doing marketing for them. So I also did their website. I have a background in web design,
Wow.
actually, what I graduated with, but never really did too much except for my own website and other people's a little bit on the side. And then showing up to local
Mm-hmm.
wine events, which there was just one a week ago or 2 weeks ago now. Wow, time flies. And yeah, so I just kind of do that as I need to, or I pour, but it's also I do the marketing and I pour. So that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, you will certainly love it up in Washington because there are so many wineries and so many events. So,
No, I would love
yes,
that. And the weather is
yes.
so nice over there.
Sometimes, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
always rain like everyone thinks.
Yeah.
Um, but I would love to know, I think that we often romanticize owning our own business, leaving our job, pursuing the things we want, becoming an entrepreneur. It feels like fast money,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh, I can just quit and I can show up online and all these clients will come and I'll make money and, six figures. But really, like, I don't know about you, but entrepreneurship is hard. It's really not easy. So, why do you feel like we have this romanticized viewpoint on it? And what has been your take and your experience?
Yeah, so I've thought about this a lot. I
Mhm.
think it's one of those where I feel like social media in general really shows off like the highlight reel of the life that you can
Mm,
live. But I also maybe because people that have a current like 9 to 5 job, they might not be in the best company or role. I feel like
mhm,
people kind of like don't realize that not every company is the same. And I've experienced in that too. My first job out of college was horrible. Like I could say that I was
mm,
very upset in that role. I was very worried about switching roles of it being the same way, and it wasn't. And then even moving to Salt Lake in my current position, like you always have that like,
mhm,
in the back of your mind, like, oh no, like what if like my manager's like this, and so that's
right.
kind of hard to gamble, but I also think it's hard to gamble in business of what type of clients you're going to get too, because there's
Mhm,
so many people out there needing help.
mhm,
But in my experience, just, me just personally just saying this is that I've had some really great clients and I still have really great clients. So it's nothing against that, but I've also
mhm.
had my fair share of not so great clients
Right.
who have higher demands, but they don't want to pay for those higher demands and or taking advantage of people that have a lot of experience. Because here's the thing about businesses in general. I feel
Mhm,
like a lot of people kind of just like get into this space right off the bat and they don't have a
mhm,
lot of experience, and that's totally fine, but this is where they get their experience. But then you have people
mhm.
like me that's been in marketing for 6 years, but people still treat me as if I'm like a newbie in the world, and I'm not. So
I
they,
relate to that. I
yeah,
definitely relate to that.
yeah,
I've worked in sales for 12 years, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
you have
yeah,
lots of people who show up and they're like, I'm going to do this. I can learn. I think I can teach it forward. And kudos to them. Like, I applaud them for doing that.
yeah,
But there's definitely a different levels of education and background when you come to the online space or any business, right? Everyone
yeah.
has a different background experience.
Exactly. And I think that is something of business of what I've realized. Like, no one really wants to see like a resume. They don't want to, you work so hard
Mm,
on those things and like they don't care. They
yeah.
just want to know, like, can you do it or not? And it's like, are you okay with this pay or not? And it's just like, if you want to make extra money and you have
Mm,
minimal hours, then it's perfect. But if you're trying to scale, I feel like for some of us, it would be hard to go in that route. But like I said, I've had the
right.
taste of both to understand like what makes the most sense. And I'm sure a lot of people listening are probably thinking the same thing. If they're in both, they're just like, which one, which one
It's
you get
hard.
like, yeah, you kind of get the high of the business of like the flexibility, but it's also, you have to think about your 9 to 5 and what you're currently in and what you're doing, where you're going. There's a lot of components to it, I think.
Right, right. Of course. And, just kind of touching on that too, anyone who's just listening in or has been listening, please feel free to share your questions with us. We're happy to discuss it and talk about it, or something's been on your mind and you want to just chat. Like, we're here, we get it, we've been there. And just kind of one thing that you said that was an interesting perspective was that not all experiences are the same, right? Like you
Yeah.
said, like from job to job. And I think that's so true in the online space. And I know one of the hardest things for me has to see this as like a new job, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like you can just go from one to the next and be an expert. You have to kind of learn. You're kind of like a student as you're learning to grow your business. And it is really hard to go from the top and not
Yeah.
be in the top and that, but you'll get there, right? With confidence and time and
Yes.
everything.
And yeah.
And so I think like what you said too, it's often romanticized because we see the good things, right? People don't want to talk about the bad things. They want to
No.
say, "Hey, I'm doing this. I want to be recognized for those wins that I'm having,"
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
you never really know what's going on behind the scenes. I've
No.
learned that.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, but then you do have some of the people that are really great and they do kind of,
Of
share the
course.
lows. And I actually almost appreciate that more. Like it's great. I
Hmm.
love celebrating people and, all their wins, but like I almost appreciate like a person coming out and be like, it's been a really hard week. Like, I worked really long hours. I did this, I did
Hmm.
that. It wasn't great, but you know what? There's always next week and I'm going to keep going after it, and I feel like those are the people that like really understand the difference of what type of work they're trying to put into and what they're trying to create. So
Right.
yeah.
So what is the biggest thing you've learned? Because like just adding like a little perspective here, like you work a full 9 to 5, which is
Yep.
40 hours,
Yep.
and you're trying to run a business. So you have to be extremely good with time management or you're going to be burnt out, which I know many of us feel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, burnout still happens, even though I've tried to avoid it as much as I'd like to. A lot of my I guess what I've really learned is really prioritizing. So like here's the thing, you have to think about, the work that you have to get done. And then you have, your side
Mm-hmm.
clients where you're like, okay, well, I have to get that done too. But
Mm-hmm.
also you have to prioritize you at the end of the day. I think it kind of does help me. I'm not a glorified morning routine person. I'm not ever gonna like put that on anybody, but I do wake up pretty early, like I think I'm up around like 6. It's been earlier
It's
recently.
early.
Yeah, but like it's not like I'm up and at it every, 24/7,
Right.
but like I really take advantage of that morning hour, just like some people take advantage of like the nighter time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's my biggest takeaway is that you really have to like think about your work style and your work habits and take advantage of that little gap of, little energy that you have to really be creative and get your stuff done in order for you to have more freedom at the end of the day or morning.
Yeah.
We're not working the weekends. I feel like a lot of people do really, they just feel like they have to, have a certain schedule or do it a certain way, but
Right.
really I think it's just you have to do what feels right for you in order to get, like I said, your work done and make sure you are taken care of and or family
Self-care.
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. You need it. You really do.
Right. Well, not only are you, you have a business, you have to grow your business. You have to
Yeah.
start by establishing yourself and marketing yourself and lead generation and following up and then servicing those clients and onboarding, and you can't forget about the lead generation either. And so
Yep.
that really is a lot to take on. And I know many of us get into this because we want time freedom and location freedom.
Yep.
And obviously if you're working a 9 to 5, you're not going to have as much time freedom because you are spending your extra time building a business,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So, okay, I know a little sidestep here. And I
Yep.
also, oh gosh, I have so much I could ask you
Oh,
because I know that we can all relate. Um, but what made you decide to start a business if you knew that it wasn't going to bring you time freedom in many ways, right? Does that make sense?
yeah. I guess maybe I didn't want the time freedom. I really like I said, when we like my company pushed for full remote,
Mm-hmm.
I actually had that time freedom even more. Like I feel like
Mm,
work-life balance came a little bit more naturally because you're in your own home. You don't have to travel if you
right.
don't want to. It just gave me like and it made me actually become more of an early bird because I knew like I can just go to a 7 a.m. workout class, but I know I don't have to like get ready to like physically go anywhere. I can work, I
Mm-hmm.
can do this, like in between everything. So I just felt like it was a good opportunity to just start, just utilizing my talent and just, like I said, I wanted to learn and grow. And when I wanted to be in a certain area within my company, when I wasn't able to, not that they said no, but it was more so there just wasn't a position open. I just took matters in my own hand. If I couldn't do it in my full time, I'm going to do it on the side. I just had that mentality. And I know
Right.
not a lot of people have that mentality, but the people who are probably listening are probably thinking the same. That marketing, you can really stretch yourself in different areas. So,
Right.
yeah,
It sounds like you were craving some creative outlet. And I
yeah,
think it's okay to want to build a business for that reason. It doesn't always have to be for time freedom or financial freedom. It can
yeah,
be just because it's a passion,
yes, it is.
right? And so
It finds more passion framed.
no, I love that. And I think we need to hear more of that. And I think
Yeah,
it has to be more of an acceptable thing to say, I'm really passionate. I want to do something with this. It
yeah,
doesn't always have to be the six-figure dream thing, right?
No. If it comes
So,
along with it, that's fine. But, like
right,
obviously I
right.
do appreciate the money that comes along with it. I mean, it's really helped with wedding planning and everything else in the future. So it's been really great on that side. But I agree with you. It doesn't have to be a certain way. Like you can just enjoy it and not hate it after a while.
Right. So that brings up such an excellent point. I think that many of us will work in a job and we're trying to build up a business enough to leave it, but often feel afraid that once we leave our 9 to 5, things won't feel the same or it won't feel stable, or maybe you just won't love it as much. So, what is kind of your take on that? I mean, I can kind of answer that as well, but since you haven't left your job, but what would you say?
I actually really like the stability that full-time creates because you're not obviously when you run your own business, you're working for other people too, so it's not that, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it is really something that you have to time manage. You have to make sure you're not overdoing things. But you do know that you have to be more approachable to all the trends coming forth
Mm-hmm.
on social to really promote yourself and really try to
Mm,
stand out a little bit more. It's not that clients just like naturally just fall in your lap. I mean, sometimes they do. You have referrals
no.
that
Yeah.
that's very helpful, but most of the time like you have to present yourself in a certain way to be able to convert those people into making money, but then you have to construct your business in a way that you're going to have
Yeah.
consistent money. So I think that's just like the difference between the full time and not is that
Mm,
you just have to know if you have enough clients and you've had enough clients and you can't hold
mm-hmm.
on to it because you know you're going to be consistent, then it makes sense for you to move on and, kind of take that leap of faith and hope that that's your trend in your business and
Right.
But if you
Right.
feel, but if you're the opposite where you're just like, I have a lot of clients, but maybe you're not hitting the payments that you want, or like in order to live your life, obviously with inflation and the soon to be recession,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to think about. Not saying a 9 to 5 is 100% secure because there's a lot of layoffs going
Of
on. My
course.
company just went through one, so I know how it feels. But it's one of those where you just have to decide what's more worth it to you and what's going to make you happier. Like if you're in a toxic 9 to 5, I would take advantage of whatever
Hmm.
business you've built and try to build it in a way that makes sense for you to leave. But if you can hold on to the 9 to 5 with that stability and still try to figure it out, I would still continue on that route. But it all depends on
I
who you
agree
are.
with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hard question because it can go
Yeah.
either way.
Right. I will tell you in my experience, it's not like just because you open the doors, the customers come in, right? It's just like
Yeah,
going to the mall and you're like, I'm open for the day. It's 10 a.m. We're going to open our doors and the customers come flooding in. It takes a lot of work to bring people your way, and there can be inconsistencies. I mean,
yeah,
even in like working retail sales, like it's not like
yeah,
every month you sell the same amount, right? You have
yeah,
really high months like you do during the holiday season, and you have
yeah.
really low months during the summer, or it depends what industry, of course, because back to school. But anyways, that's besides the point. But there is a lot of inconsistency, and I think you make a great point. If you're someone that needs structure, needs stability, it might make sense to stick with it.
Mhm.
um but we all have our different reasons and motives on why we do something, and so for you this is a passion creative project, right? And it would be great if it grew into something bigger, I'm sure, but you're also learning at both places and progressing your
Yes.
skill set as well. And so I think it comes down to really what do you really want, what's the goal of it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, overall, I don't know, I put a lot of thought into it. I've been back and forth for 2 years of like what I truly wanted, but I don't know. I just think I have a good enough 9 to 5 where, I've been there for 3.5 years. I have great relationships with everybody. I have the
mm,
schedule that I want to. So here's the thing, I don't have my own business, but I do, I work hard enough and I, create a schedule that makes sense for me and obviously around,
mm,
meetings and other people, but I'm not overloaded by any means. Like sometimes, some days more than others, but
sure.
it just comes down to I like where I am and I don't see the point of getting rid of it because I'm still able to do
Mm,
both and feel pretty okay about it. And yeah, I guess I'm not anti-corporate. I'm just, it just depends on who it is and who you're working for and who your boss is. The boss is the
mm-hmm.
biggest. The company can be perfect, but it's the
Leadership.
boss. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I have a really great one. You know, he's been great from day
Oh.
one, and he's always been supportive of no matter what.
Oh.
And like I said, some people on the call are probably like, "Well, I don't have that." Well, I understand. I mean, but just know that it's not always like that. It really isn't.
No.
And business isn't always the most shiny thing in the corner. You still have to work even harder to get to that, or like
Hmm.
really specialize in something in order to get to where you need to go. But like I said, all depends. Location, who you are.
Right.
But my goal is I'm going to keep the 9 to 5 and I'm going to do some things on the side that make me happy and bring in some money. So, yeah.
Right. Leadership does make a really big difference. And, you have to decide for yourself what is the right path. And so for you, it sounds like, and I love what you said, I'm happy where I'm at. Why would I change it? And so it sounds like for you, this is something that you want to keep doing, is to keep being in your 9 to 5 and run a business. And so kudos to you. It's not easy. I
No,
applaud you.
not easy. No one here. I would hope that no one thinks it's like, a breeze. I mean, like I
No.
said, some days, some weeks. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but like I said, it took a while. When I first started, I was running myself in the ground of like working all night, working all weekends, and now I
Yes.
don't do that. It's been a year since I like really do that unless I really
Oh,
have a tight deadline. But other like I
yeah.
try not to take on too much that I can chew because I do try to remember I do have a stable job. Don't try to overcompensate because you can. It's hard saying no to
Mm-hmm.
people, but I do all the time because I know my limits and I don't want to work 24/7. I still want the life. I still want the romanticized life that people keep talking about. The
Yeah.
flexibility. So, and I have that. I really do, just in a different form, and it's fine. It works for me.
Oh,
So
that is such a like almost beautiful place to end it. But I do want to bring up, you have this magazine that's amazing and I want people to know about it. So if you could tell us
yes.
a little bit more about it. So this is another creative project that you've created. It's something that's very in line with what you're building, called the Social Pour. So if you could tell us a little bit more about the Social Pour, I would love that.
Yeah. So Social Pour, it's going to be on its last issue for the year because we're going to migrate it fully to like more of like a website magazine. But it's essentially just a bunch of different topics from career, marketing, work-life balance, wine. I mean, you have to have some wine topics in
Of
there.
course.
And it's just from those in the community, women in the community that are spotlighted on specific topics that they get to talk about whatever they feel is necessary, and just kind of giving them a little bit more of an outlet to be able to talk about that
Hmm.
because I don't specialize in everything, but I know so many other people do. So I wanted to create a platform that not only
Hmm.
made sense for like who I am as a person, but also bring in people who are kind of like-minded and kind of build something off of it. And yeah, I'm just really excited. The issue will be done by the end of the week. I'm pushing very, very
Oh,
hard to get it finalized. And then, yeah, so last issue, but then everything will be on the website. So it's not going away. It'll still be hanging on. But yeah, it's a really great place to be, especially like I said, if you career or if you are a business, there's not a lot of business topics, but I might pop a few more in there for people who are interested. But I think it's just a great read and it's very easy to like go on there and just
mm-hmm.
get inspiration and motivation for yourself. So
Yeah. I've explored your magazine as well, and it is very easy and digestible to read. You've made it very visually, like, beautiful as well.
oh,
So,
thank you. Thank you. Took a
yes,
while. It took me a while
yes,
to get it to that point,
of
but we
course,
did
of course.
it.
So, okay, if people want to get your magazine, first of all, how much is it and where do they find it?
Yeah, so it will be in the link in my bio, but I'll also add it to the socialpoormag.com. There'll be like a button on the top, just because I don't want to take away from the articles, but there will be access to it. And right now, I think it's going to be 22 per issue. I think that's what it's going to come out to. It might be a little less depending, because I'm still finalizing, but 22 is the typical amount. So yeah.
And then from there, it's going to be on the website and is like a subscription, or like that's just such a different
Right
idea.
now, yeah, it's going to be built out eventually as a subscription, but the rest of the content is just going to be free because we're going to repurpose from older magazines if people didn't subscribe, so they still have a chance to kind of see things. And then I also
Cool.
have Lexi. She's an editorial assistant and just fantastic writer and editor
Mm.
that is helping me kind of get a few more articles on there. So she's doing a really great job, and people should read her content because it's spot on.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, I'll make sure to link all of this as well. So if
Perfect.
anyone listening wants to learn more, and I'm also really excited because you gave me the opportunity to write an article for
Yeah.
that as well. So I'm chatting about my favorite topic, sales and marketing, why
Yes,
they
I
are
love it.
not the same.
No,
So,
but I love it
um,
anyways.
yes, but both very important to
Yes.
have and understand and develop skills in. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, Claudia, gosh, is there anything else that you wanted to say about 9 to 5 that you feel we should know that we missed?
No, I think we got it. I think we
Yes.
definitely hit every angle. But if people have questions, obviously comment or reach out via DM. I'm always willing to chat and talk through things. So yeah, this was
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you.
Definitely reach out to Claudia. You're amazing. I've seen some of your work. You design beautiful websites, I have
Oh,
to say, and
thank you.
you're very approachable, and I know that you would meet anyone for a glass of wine or
I
teach
would.
them
I
anything.
would.
So definitely a good person to have in your corner. Reach out to her and definitely go check out the social pour. Hopefully by the end of this week
Yeah.
you'll be able to access it. So thank you so much for being here and chatting with us.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
So, all
It was
right.
really great.
Thank you everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
All right.
All right,
Bye.
bye.